Hello, I'm Paul Pluter and welcome to Paul Pluter Prestige. Today I'd like to talk about the Patek Philippe Annual Calendar 5035. And the 5035 is a very special watch in the Patek Philippe range. Patek Philippe was often a maker who had very high-end pieces like a perpetual calendar and many very exciting and fabulous complications, but the lower end was simply two-hand or three-hand type watches. With the introduction of simple complications, which possess a very useful function, Patek designed a range of watches which were much more affordable, but a lot more exciting than the standard two or three hand pieces. And one of these magnificent pieces that Patek released was the 5035. And this watch came out in 1996, and it was Patek's first annual calendar. An annual calendar is a piece which displays the month, the day, and the date. And an annual calendar differs from a perpetual calendar because an annual calendar requires the piece to be set at the end of the month of February. And with a perpetual calendar, it's able to keep track of leap years. So it's quite a bit more complicated type of watch. An annual calendar, because it doesn't have that feature for leap years, is a lot more inexpensive on the market. But surprisingly, an annual calendar from Patek Philippe uses more parts than a perpetual calendar. The annual calendar market is a very interesting thing, and many people can say it may be a lesser piece than a grand complication, but it's still hideously expensive, and they're not an easy purchase by any stretch of the imagination. Annual calendars themselves there have been popularized in times, and another maker who has an annual calendar is Breitling with the Datura, and Rolex has just released the Sky Dweller, which is an annual calendar as well. The interesting thing is this is quite a useful complication, and it's a very, very attractive watch. The Patek 5035 annual calendar is a gorgeous piece which is 37 mils across. It uses the Patek Base 315 SC movement, and it also features a gorgeous display back. Now, the 5035 has been superseded. It's been replaced by the 5146. And it's with a bit of sadness that this has happened. The 5035 in modern sense has been called a little bit small because the replacement, the 5146, is actually 39 mils across, excluding the crown, whereas the 5035 is 37 mils. But in many ways, the 5035 has a purity, and it looks like a vintage piece without a moon phase. And by not having the moon phase, the piece actually has a AM/PM type indicator at the 6th position. So in many ways, I think this might be nicer than a moon phase complication. The 5035 is an absolute cracker of a piece which was available in yellow gold, white gold, and platinum. And it's just a gorgeous, complicated Patek to hold and to possess. And the piece itself uses a 19mm strap at the lugs, which compared to my 5107, which is also a 37mm piece, it makes the watch seem a smidgen smaller. And it's kind of a sad reflection of the times we live in, when people will say a 5035 is too small by modern standards. One must not forget that a 5035 is a dress watch. It is not a sports watch. It is not a dinner plate special. And as somebody said to me the other day, you can tell that big watches are out of date when Rolex jumps on the bandwagon and starts adopting big watches. It becomes passé. Everyone's doing it. But the 5035 is a very special piece in the Patek lineup, and I think they are a relative bargain in today's market. With a depressed economy and depressed financial situation in many countries, these pieces are what I would consider absolute cracker of a deal. The 5035 is Patek's first annual calendar, and this is not to be confused with the perpetual calendar which Patek has made since the 60s. And this type of piece, the annual calendar by Patek, is now a firmly established model in the Patek lineup, and it's easy to see why. It's so gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it serves a very useful function. Unlike a tourbillon, which is very hard to see or highlight, a annual calendar gives you really useful information. And it's a great complication to have in a small watch collection that one establishes. I really love the 5035, and I think it's one of the greatest Pateks that will be a rising star in the future of collectors. I think the 5035 represents great value. It's a great piece, and I'm very fortunate to have photographed and highlighted this piece. I'm Paul Pluter. Thank you for listening to Paul Pluter Prestige, and please send me your comments.